Hi, everybody. Wow, I just popped right on, didn't I? My name is Jim Caruso, and I am delighted to be hosting what I know will be a lively and fascinating conversation. This series is designed around Shippensburg University's commitment to celebrating diversity. And because it's March, we're celebrating Women's History Month, which highlights the contributions of women to events in history and in contemporary society. Now, while you're watching, we'd love you to donate whatever you can to the Lures Center. First of all, wait, there's a hat. There. Look how good. Look, it matches the, yeah, we match. The Lures Center to help fund a wide array of cultural programming that will include full-scale Broadway performances and comedians and symphonies and pop and rock concerts and family shows and internationally known speakers. Ruby, pull up that QR code. Now this thing, if you open your phone and face it to that weird thing that's right on my face, it will take you to fun and magical places, and a really easy way to donate. So do that. And thank you. Okay, I love talking to songwriters, and for the most part, they talk back to me. They tend to have big ideas. They see the world in interesting ways. They're interested in how stuff happens. And I'll let you in on a little secret. Some of my best friends are writers. So I brought two of the most successful writers to meet you tonight. Okay, I'm going to tell you about them first. Victoria Shaw. If you've turned the radio on at all over the past 25 years, you've heard a song or 10 that she's written. She's based in Nashville and New York City. She has 4 solo albums. She's written hit songs for Garth Brooks, Ricky Martin, Christina Aguilera, Reba McEntire. The list goes on and on. She's won Country Music's Song of the Year, Single of the Year, and 2 Emmy Awards. The second season of her PBS series, Songwriters Under the Covers, is airing right now. Welcome all the way from Nashville, Tennessee, Victoria Shaw.
What a nice introduction. I'm so impressed.
I know. How did we get you?
So nice of you.
Look at your wall, first of all. I want you to turn around and look at that wall. That is, and that's an extraordinary accomplishment. Look at all those gold, silver. Are there platinum? What's up there?
Platinums there. Yeah, quite a few platinums. Yep. It's a little bit of everything. And it's what's funny is the person who literally hung them for me is a massive successful songwriter who's just my buddy. So I had a hit songwriter, Hall of Famer, putting up my plaques.
Well, now we have to ask, who was it?
Gary Burr. His name's Gary Burr.
Gary Burr. Was Dolly Parton.
Yeah.
She comes over with her hammer. Okay, Victoria, even though we talk all the time, our audience doesn't know. Let's tell, how are you? How are you been coping with this crazy dystopian time? And by the way, there's a hurricane headed your way, right?
Tornadoes. But I was born in New York and grew up in LA. And in LA, earthquakes, they don't give you warning, they just happen. So I feel like in the South, they keep telling you it's coming. So I'm in my basement right now. It's okay. Just give me a warning. I mean, it's not okay, but at least I have a little bit of a heads up.
Yeah, you'll let us know if you need to duck and cover.
I will.
Please. Or if we just don't see you, we'll know.
Oh.
So things are going well in Nashville. How's the world there? How do you feel safe?
I stay in my little bubble. It's starting to open up here a little too much for my liking. They really weren't much into masking as much as in New York and other places. So I just stayed clear of that. My mom's 85. We stayed really clear of that. Actually, it's more downtown where the touristy areas or where the kids go down to hang out. But you know, it's still the numbers are not as high as they are in other places, which is odd. But I just got my Johnson & Johnson shot Saturday and got that done. My mom's all Pfizered out, so I think we're ready to, you know, like kind of. I feel like almost in a few. You know what she said to me? She goes, "I think in a couple of weeks I might want to go to a restaurant." It kind of scared me because I haven't been to a restaurant in a year. I said, "All right, like outside?" She said, "Yeah." So
I've been to my first inside restaurant just a few weeks ago. Well, actually, I was in December. I went out a few times when things started to ease up a little bit. Then I kind of freaked out again, and I really kind of reverted back to my, you know, COVID freak out. But we did go to a restaurant the other night, and I felt very safe.
Good.
And I've had my shots. I feel like a puppy. I've had my shots.
I think we're going to be okay. I really do, you know, and yeah, I'm looking forward to sitting in a restaurant like a big girl.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, well, obviously we're going to talk about songwriting, but first I want to introduce our audience, you know her, to our other very talented songwriter guest and another great friend, Amanda Green. Amanda grew up in showbiz, learning a whole lot about musical theater from her mother, actress Phyllis Newman, and her dear dad, songwriter, playwright, Adolph Green. Now look at that picture. What is that? Show business? Is that Broadway? Amanda writes for the musical theater, and she's garnered 2 Tony nominations for her shows, Hands on a Hard Body and Bring It On. She's written with Lin-Manuel Miranda, Tom Kitt, Trey Anastasio, Jason Robert Brown, and Curtis Moore, among many others. Welcome all the way from the Upper West Side, Amanda Green.
Hi, how are you?
And boy, are your arms tired.
Oh boy, woo. Hey guys.
You know each other.
We do. We do.
Yep.
Now, I want this to be a conversation. You don't just have to wait for your turn to talk. So no manners tonight, although there's always that weird delay. So, but I'm so happy that you guys are both here. Amanda, I asked Victoria, same to you. How are you? How are you dealing with this crazy time?
I'm okay. I mean, the spring is coming, and so there's like hope in the air. I'm half vaxxed, half Pfizered. My husband's Pfizered. My stepkid's Pfizered. So feeling hopeful. I actually just got like a rehearsal date for this show that's been postponed for 1.5 years, and it's way in the distance. But the fact that there's a date like just fills me with hope, you know,
something to write in your calendar.
Absolutely. Yeah,
I know. Well, now let's be, you've been very busy during this time too. You always have like 10 projects. You're like Vic, you write around, you have a lot of stuff going on always.
Yes, I've been busy, but also not busy. I mean, everything. I had 2 projects that were, oh, pardon me, there's the ringing, but I had 2 projects, and that's my dog barking. You're going to get the whole thing. 2 projects, one that was going to happen this fall, and one that was going to happen this summer. And they've both been, you know, one is postponed for the months ahead. The one this summer is not going to happen. I have to find a new home. So, you know, there's been a lot of, you know, disappointment like everybody else. And coming up with new project ideas. And I've been working a lot with the Dramatist Guild that I'm on the council of, and doing sort of live. We did live Dramatist Guild Live. I work on the magazine and just sort of talking to theater writers and theater artistic directors and educators during the really hard, you know, first 6 or 7 months. God, it's been a long time. Just about how everybody was coping or not, you know. So that sort of kept me busy. And
Amanda, have you embraced the writing on Zoom, or is it no? Like, have you been writing songs on Zoom? Have you embraced that, or have you just waited for this to lift so you can?
Oh no, I've been writing. Yeah,
on Zoom.
You know, the way it's actually not that different. I mean, we FaceTime this. You know, one project we FaceTime. We talk about it. We go to our corners, do some writing, send each other recordings, and make another FaceTime, and so to talk, hash it out. But yeah, that works for me. How about you?
Me too. At the beginning, I was not into it. I just felt like the delay, and I just didn't. And now I'm literally on the bottom of me is still my Lululemons from this morning's workout. I'm very comfortable. I've got some fuzzy slippers on, and but I'm all decked up here. But I found it to be quite efficient. Really, I'm not in traffic. I can write longer. I'm not rushing home to get feed the dog or whatever. I don't find that I've lost any kind of connection. We talk like we would, maybe we don't, we just don't all go out to lunch or something, but I wasn't really doing that anyway because I like to get home. So I'm going to definitely be Zooming even when this thing is over, probably 50% of the time, if I can.
I'm with you. Yeah, I really do like it. And again, and I also have friends who live in LA, and we've had writing sessions. It's good, but I do think that being in the room, there's something, I'd say 50% of the time it works, and I'm very happy about it. But especially theater, at some point you gotta be in a room or nothing's happening. Sure. So I really look forward to that.
Do you guys find that this weird time has brought a resourcefulness to each of your communities? The pop and country music for Vic, and the musical theater for Amanda.
You want to answer?
Go ahead, I'll answer after you.
Yeah, God, you've seen it. Starting with you, Jim. Everybody has embraced everything they can to keep going. There's so much happening in new media with streaming and Zoom readings and people, housing together in pods so they can create art together. Everybody is doing the best they can and being as imaginative as artists are. It's so imaginative. And writers, we can keep writing and writing, but again, in theater, if there's not a show happening, what are you writing for? So we're ready to take it to the stage. But yes, the community has been extraordinary. And I feel for so many people who are struggling. Victoria, what about you?
Well, besides, writing for major artists, I also love to develop new artists. And I've been developing this young man named Cooper Allen for the last, 2 years. And when this pandemic, he's 25, when the pandemic hit, he couldn't play out, he couldn't do anything. So I just said, really try to get those social media things going. And he embraced TikTok. And long story short, just exploded on TikTok.
Wow.
But while we were writing, doing these Zoom writes, he and I and another writer, whatever, we started to just write like we would for his project. And he was able to test these songs out with his audience, his TikTok audience. He would go ahead and literally just go, hey, here's a demo of a song. Should I put it out? Should I finish it? They were like, yes. And these songs went to #1 on the iTunes sales charts.
Wow.
It's been an amazing year to talk about pivoting and just kind of embracing this new medium. So we're writing, we're putting stuff out. He's had like 20 million streams, all because of the pandemic, Yeah. So it's been a really interesting, eye-opening, educational time for me, for us, it's a whole new world,
It is.
The TikTok musical. Yeah.
The TikTok musical. I feel like what I did, because of Ruby, my producer, who happens to be your daughter, Ruby Lochner. No, not your daughter, Amanda.
I didn't know about it. But
that would be weird. No, Victoria's daughter, Ruby, called me about 2 weeks into the pandemic and said, you need to do Cast Party, which is the show that I've done every Monday at Birdland for 18 years on YouTube. And I said, oh, I don't know how to do that. And she said, but I do, because she's 21 and people 21 know how to do stuff. And if it weren't for that, people say to me, you're so brave to have, and good for you, must be so proud. I didn't know what else to do.
Yeah.
So you just move forward.
Yes.
I'm scared for the people who are so freaked out and can't move forward. I don't want the world to, somehow pass them by. And the second everything's open, I don't want them to be, forgotten. So we all have to support each other to keep moving.
If there's any young people out listening, or parents of younger people who they are and they're kind of waiting out the pandemic, I can't express to you how wrong of a mindset that is. Like I said, this kid that I'm working with, this young man, he went from 0 to exploding because he didn't want to sit idle. He couldn't play out in the bars. He couldn't play, and he refused to be idle because he didn't want to. He has this passion. So if there's anybody out there in acting or something that is possible to proceed with, explore the internet, and don't wait for this pandemic to be over, because there's a lot of people who have been working and evolving during.
That's right.
I came up with, actually, I was going to say, I came up with an idea for an animated musical because I thought you can do animation during the pandemic. So I never would have thought of that before. And I was like, okay, I'm going to do that. So I've been working on that. So there you go.
That's amazing.
I love that idea.
Yeah.
Ooh. Vic, I know when you first came to New York City, you made your living in piano bars, singing covers and entertaining the obliterati. The masses, yes. Were you writing songs that whole time? What was when did writing happen for you?
First, I started to write honestly when I was like 13, because I just wrote just because for fun. I always wanted to be a singer. But writing was fun. And then I got a band. I always had bands, but I had this one band that we were doing more originals, and so my sister would write the lyrics and I would write the music, and we would perform. I had this band with horns and everything, and we would do half covers and half originals. And then, but still, that was just a hobby. That was just a side thing that I liked to do. And then when I moved back to New York, I was born there, but moved back to New York. Even though I started playing in the bars, I just kept writing songs, and I didn't have my sister with me, so I started writing lyrics as well. And it just kind of started to evolve my songwriting. I mean, it was like the second thing I wanted to do, and it turned out to be the main, most enjoyable thing, that I do. I mean, I love to sing too, but it's been great.
Well, what took you to Nashville, where you made your, fame and fortune?
I'll try to tell the story short. Is when I moved to back to New York at 18, I lived for a year in Long Island with my aunt before I moved into the city. And so I got this job in this piano bar on 44th Street called Chili's. And did you know that place? It was like, anyway, it was right on 44th.
Like the Chili's, the chain restaurant?
No, it was Chili's. It was a bar owned by some firemen. It was great. And
great.
It was between 6 and 7. And so I came home. I used to have to go home on the Long Island Railroad, otherwise known as the LIRR. So I was coming home late from this piano bar gig. It was like 2 a.m, and I was thinking, I'm in this smoke-filled car. People were smoking, on the LIRR, and I just started to write these lyrics. Home seems so far away. It's been a long night, and all this stuff. When I got home, I had these lyrics, and I got in my room, and there was no piano, but I had one of those small little Casios that you could only play one note at a time. And literally, that's probably what made me go to country music. Had I had a piano, it might have been a pop song, but because I had this little tiny Casio, I was like, ding, 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 ding. I'm in a smoke-filled car on the LIRR, home seems so far away. All this stuff. And it came out really nicely. My dad, who was always kind of let's just do it. He said, let's cut the song. And I went back to California. We cut this 45. I brought it back to New York, took it to the local New York radio station, which I did not know was the biggest station in the country. And at first they were like, we're not going to play your song. But then when they realized it had New York references, it ended up being a hit in New York City. And it kind of, I mean, it wasn't like, and everything worked. It took 8 years after that to get stuff really going, but it got my name here, and I got to meet people, and I started to take trips down to Nashville going, country music, wow. And once I started to learn about it, I realized, I know who Barbara Mandrell is. I used to watch that show. I used to watch, Glenn Campbell. I've heard those songs, anything like from, 1970 up, I'd hear, on the radio. So that's my story.
Okay, that is crazy that I did not know that. And I'm dying to hear that whole song at some point.
Okay.
Is it on iTunes, and can we find it?
You can find it on YouTube. I've never even tried that. It's called "Is That Any Way to Treat a Star?"
Oh my God. It sounds like a new opener for Jim. Okay. So, Amanda.
Yeah.
Did you, and I know you've been asked this a trillion times, so make this a trillion and one. Did you grow up knowing and understanding that your family was showbiz royalty?
Ay, what a question. Honestly.
But there's no way to not, but how do I came from the most white bread, middle of the road, middle America family. What you grew up seeing is like, you know,
you just thought it was your life. How would you
Hollywood, Hollywood to me. Well, it was Hollywood.
Yeah, no, I always thought my parents were special, and I knew their world was very special. And when I'd see them, I was, see my mom perform, I was starstruck, or be backstage at one of my dad's shows. I just knew it was, I always thought it was incredibly cool, incredibly cool.
Well, good. That makes me feel much better.
They probably did not urge you to be a writer. That probably was just a natural thing. Right?
Yeah, they didn't. I was more interested in acting. That's what I saw my mom do, and like she was so pretty. I wanted to be a pretty lady, in front of the cameras, and they sort of dissuaded both my brother and I from going into show business because they were like, it's terrible, it's awful, the heartache, the thing, But I always say that I knew their friends were incredible and brilliant and talented. And they always had so much fun.
That's the thing. You can say it's terrible, but you must have seen the joy that their careers brought them.
Absolute joy of them while they were performing. Of course, all the other nonsense that goes around with it, which is not joyful. Show business is not easy, but the joy and their friends who were just like a party. Their friends were brilliant and funny. And I was like, why would I want to do anything else but that?
Right.
I'm sure that you also saw them, lose a part or,
very big
reviews. So you learn how to have tough skin. You learn how to let it go off your back. And you learn that too from your parents,
No. No. It's very easy to watch someone else go through it and be philosophical, but when it happens to you, no, you find you did not, in fact, have a tough
But that's what made you stay in it, though. You have thicker skin than you know.
Absolutely. I think anybody really who has a career of this has a thick skin, no matter where they come from. Yeah. And, if you're like me, as they say, I grew up around it, or if you're someone who didn't grow up around it and is determined to be in it, then you have a tough skin too.
Yeah.
Because nothing is going to stop you from making what you have no way of knowing you can be part of, being part of that world. So
Right, exactly. Well, Amanda, you grew up performing, as we all remember your performance as Maria in The Sound of Music. But then
Wikipedia that I was Maria in West Side Story at camp at the age of 9. And that's like my best credit. So.
But you did make a pretty smooth transition from only performing to writing and performing your own material in clubs like Victoria. It's amazing that you guys have similar experiences.
It's interesting. I did like you. I went to acting school after college. I wanted to be an actress, and I wasn't getting great auditions. I was working, coat check girl, waitress, all those things. And I started singing. I started singing in cabaret sort of by accident, and it was not a one-way ticket to stardom at all.
What?
One night I sang one of my own songs, and like the intoxication of performing something that I had written that meant, so much to me, what really got me hooked. And I went to Nashville too, because
that's where I met you.
That's where we met. Unlike you, I did not find my home there because I never felt comfortable in the groove. I don't think I ever found out, did enough homework about what exactly the world is and what songs are playable.
But it all led you exactly to where you're supposed to be.
Exactly.
You wouldn't have been able to get there without going to Nashville. You know what I mean? Yeah.
I learned so much going to Nashville. First of all, I met incredible people like you, and really just getting to hear you guys sing your songs at the Bluebird was life-changing. And then I got to like play at the Bluebird, you know, at some early shows. And I would go down and write while I had a day job for, you know, a 9 to 5 for 7 years. And my outlet was going to Nashville for a week or two and getting to live like a songwriter, you know, and getting to write with people every day and hear music every night and perform, you know, so it was a really great training ground of how to collaborate too.
Amanda, do you still have like a dream of writing a country hit? Because if yes, happens, what would you ask Victoria about that world?
Oh gosh, I don't.
Come on, look, we can zoom in anytime you want, Amanda. I'm ready.
I'm ready for that Zoom.
Okay.
Okay.
And Vic, same thing. You're a huge theater fan.
Yeah.
And your daughters, Ruby and Ava, are both performers in New York City. Is there a Broadway show swirling around in your head?
Yeah, well, Gary Burr and I have been working on one on and off for a few years because you know, we have to still do our day job, you know, with the other songwriting. I would love to pick your brain and just tell you what we, you know, we're thinking, what we do, and any kind of, you know, advice or any. I mean, I would absolutely love that, you know.
All right, we're having a date after this.
Okay. And I'm
you saw it here.
And by the way, Amy Curlin, who owns the Bluebird Cafe, she works out with me every morning on Zoom. I have a bunch of friends that work out on Zoom. I'll tell you about later, Amanda. She says hello.
Oh, she's amazing. She's amazing. And I'm so happy for all the success.
Here's a message from Barbara. She followed Victoria when she performed at Oh Johnny's on 14th Street.
You remember Oh Johnny's? Do you?
I remember hearing about it. I wasn't here when I lived here.
Oh, wow. That was a great, fun restaurant, cabaret. Really, it was next to Nell's. You probably don't know.
Yeah. I remember Nell's.
Yeah. And I
wasn't cool enough to go, but I remember.
Me neither. I was at Oh Johnny's next door.
Now, Amanda, I happen to know you were at Studio 54.
That's true. Oh, is that for you? Oh,
it's for you. Okay. Amanda, did your dad, how did he encourage you? Your dad, one of the greatest writers in the universe.
He encouraged me. He was a fan. He did not, he really was a proud father. And but if I could get a laugh out of him, that meant a lot. That meant the world to me. And you know the story I always tell. I mean, is this a family show? This is a family show. But I told, like, one of the first articles I wrote was very off color. And it was like, there was a gynecological exam set to music. That was like basically the song. And it included you know, like a rap, if you will, with every euphemism for the word vagina in it. And I was very proud of myself. I'd written this song and it was making me chuckle. So I went on a walk with my dad and I told him the lyrics of the song, thinking, how is he going to take this? And then after it was done, he was like quiet for a minute. And then he said, you had box in there, right? And, and then he went on and like just rattled off every euphemism he could think of, like a concerned father wanted to make sure I had covered all my bases.
It's the best story. It's a scene in a movie. It's just, you're going to be telling that story the rest of your life because it's so perfect. It's so perfect. Well, your Broadway career has been really successful. As I said, 2 Tony nominations for Bring It On and Hands on a Hard Body. But you've written with some really top-notch writers, co-writers and book writers. Lin-Manuel Miranda, Curtis Moore. I know, look at how very glamorous. Jeff Whitty, Billy Crystal, Doug Wright, Jason Robert Brown, Tom Kitt, Trey Anastasio. What makes a good writing partner for you specifically, Amanda?
Fame and looks. Just kidding. I'm kidding.
Why would that be bad?
I mean, no, what makes I write with all kinds of people. And those are like, I just count myself so lucky that I don't know, you know, you never, whatever. But I mean, people who are, you know, Victoria, people you trust because you just, they throw an idea out and you think this is what? That's totally out of left field, but let's go with it because I trust that if you throw me out an idea, there's going to be something good at the end of it. Or if there isn't, we'll figure something out. You know what I mean? So I think trust is a really big thing because there's so much give and take when you're collaborating with someone that you really just have to feel free to be able to throw anything out there and they'll bat it back and you'll go with them.
And I find that all the best writers, the really successful ones, for the most part, okay, I can always have exceptions, leave their ego outside. Because you can't have the big clashing egos when you're trying to collaborate. Mm-hmm. You've got to be able to go, yeah, I'm not that, you know. And the minute somebody says, I don't think so, I go, okay, let's throw that out. Let's, you know, what?
Wow, really?
Oh yeah.
So you don't fall in love with your work?
No, because
as it's happening.
If we don't fall in love together, then you're just going to have this weird thing. Now, there's certain lines I'll fight for when I go, you sure? Let me just tell you this again, or let's just leave this for now. But at the end of the day, we both have to love every single line before we leave that, you know, every single piece of music. So you can't have your ego. I find it very hard to write with somebody who does. And most people I write with, and big writers, they don't. They just want the best. Because at the end, in the beginning of the day, it's still a blank piece of paper, you know?
Yeah. So, I mean, I work with some people who are very, very sure of themselves.
Yes.
And those people I have found have reason to be. Like, I mean, so it doesn't mean that everybody's got to be nicey nice, you know? And I mean, everyone has to be respectful. And I mean, we're saying the same thing. I mean, I have, you know, they're just some people have strong flavors, but I'll be like, I'll go with it because I really trust them. But it is that trust.
Totally. Yeah. And I will say this because I would say this with him on it. Like my favorite, right? You know, the people I keep coming back to. I have my friend Gary Burr, who is, I call my musical spouse. I'm still in awe of him, probably his biggest fan, but we've had a lot of success together. And I love writing with him because I'll look at him, even if we're in a room with other writers, and I'll be like, and he always goes, there's that Bud Abbott look. Okay, take it out. And so that's our thing. However, writing with Desmond Child, who has written mega hits and mega pop hits, he is a lot more strong-willed. And I do, first of all, I also find that, you know, I trust his gut so much. I respect it. But when I want to go, you've got to dig in. You got to really plead your case or say your case. And he, you know, he's very sure of stuff, but not to the point where I wouldn't want to write with him again. You know?
Absolutely. Yeah. No. If someone, yes, you have to know when to fight for something. But usually it's not a fight. It's
not a fight at all. It's
rarely. Yeah.
Well, Vic, when you co-wrote a little song called The River.
Well, Garth's not here. I wrote it by myself.
With Garth Brooks.
Yeah.
Was that your first mega hit?
Funny enough, that was not my first hit. I couldn't get a publishing deal in Nashville for 8 years. I couldn't get arrested. And then when I finally got one, 1 year later, I had 3 number ones that year.
Wow.
And The River was not the first one. It was a song called Too Busy Being in Love by Doug Stone. And then I think it was I Love the Way You Love Me. And then I think it was The River. I don't remember exactly. But
oh my God, that's a good year.
It was a good year.
Mark that down. Were you like, oh, it's going to happen like this all the time?
Well, it made up for the 8 years that I couldn't get arrested.
Right. You're working on a TV series that I just love.
Yeah, I got to get Amanda on there too.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yes. It's called Songwriters Under the Covers. It's seen on PBS. Look at that. And it celebrates great writers like Desmond, like Gary that you've spoken about, Brett James, Beth Nielsen Chapman, and so many others. It's now in its 2nd season. Yeah. It's so great. You're such a great host. How did that come to be?
So organically. I mean, it's pretty funny. I mean, I've done a lot of songwriter shows, and I had a series at Birdland. Because of you, I used to want you to do your show here because I did my songwriter shows many places, and you kind of gave me a New York home at Birdland to part of the Broadway series, which is funny because I wasn't doing Broadway stuff, but I was doing these shows that were really what happens at any cafe here or any club in Nashville, which is what they used to call a guitar pull, where you just grab your guitar and your piano, whatever, and you're passing songs around. You're playing your original songs, going round in the round, they called it, And that's what I was doing at Birdland about 3 times a year, just booking these shows. Did them all over different places. And a producer director saw it. I'm giving you the short version, and said to me, we talked a lot. He goes, I think this could be a TV show. And I said, that's so nice of you, but there's no way this could be a TV show. I said, many people have told me I should be on TV, I should host a show, and they can't sell it. So thank you so much for trying, or thank you so much for trying, but don't bother, it's not going to happen. And then he goes, but you've never had me pitch the show. I was like, okay, go ahead. You can't sell it, please. It's okay. And 45 days later, we had a green light from the All Arts PBS station. Yeah, it was wild. And I just want to say that out to the audience out there. If you want to watch it without going onto TV, all you have to do is download the All Arts TV app. You can watch everything 24/7, All Arts TV app. So thank you for that. But yeah, it's been a pleasure. It's been a lot of fun. I just, invite friends who are really talented from different worlds. This past season, I had Kev Moe on it, and Clint Black, and Tommy Shaw from Styx, and Ruby Amanfu, who's an amazing writer for the artist Her. And
wow,
it's been a lot of fun. So I hope people check it out.
It's so great. We get to meet these incredible songwriters. You hear the stories behind the hits.
Yes.
There's great conversation. It's beautifully shot. It's such a great show. I'm so happy for you. I highly, highly advise it. Now, I want to talk about Pink for a minute, the song. Tell me about how that happened and how that incredible cast came together to record this.
Well, I had this idea for a song that I was watching, I think, a commercial about Susan G. Komen. And I just thought in my head, someday pink will just be a color. And I thought, well, there's a lyric for you. And I wrote it down and ended up writing it with 2 other very talented women writers, Jody Marr and Erin Kinsey. And we wrote this song called Pink. And it was a very hopeful and, powerful song about the day that pink is just another color. And it sat there for a while with us, for months and months and months and months. And I just thought, let's just try to do something with it. And I contacted the Susan G. Komen Foundation, and I said, I'm a legit songwriter. Please Google me. That's what I literally said on the thing. I'm a legit songwriter. Just Google me. And I've co-written a song that I think could benefit your foundation. And I have this vision of a multi-artist, powerful women cast. And they were thrilled. And so just through wonderful connections and people being generous with their time, I was able to produce this track on, and singing on it is Dolly Parton, Rita Wilson, who herself is a breast cancer survivor, the incredible R&B artist Monica, Jordan Sparks, and Sarah Evans. And I hope people out there will. It's going to be, if you Google Pink, you're going to get the artist Pink. But just Google like Pink Rita Wilson or Pink Dolly Parton, and it'll take you to the video. And I would love more streams. As much as you can add it to your streaming services, that'd be great.
Ruby, pull it up again so they can see the beautiful artwork and so they can know what they're looking for.
Yeah.
Pink. It's a thrilling performance by all of those incredible women.
I'm very proud of it. Thank you for bringing that up, Jim.
Oh, man. It's so exciting. What draws you, Amanda? What draws you to a song when you're as a listener?
Well, I mean, like that phrase, pink is just another. Looking forward to the day pink is just another color. That draws me because it's evocative. It's not cliched. So I look. I mean, the things that draw me in are when someone has comes at something from an angle I've never seen before, or I hear a melody, and that I don't know. You just get chills when you hear the right melody or the right sound. But yeah, if someone comes at something from such a unique way, and
my other daughter, Ava, she called me up a few days, about a week ago, and she goes, "Oh, you have to hear this new song by Bruno Mars, and I'm so sorry I can't think of the other artist.
Oh God, yes. Oh yeah.
Ruby, if you want to interrupt, you can tell us who the artist is.
Oh, he's so great.
And it's a great song, and it's very romantic, very cool, has a
leave the door open.
Yeah, leave the door open. It's a huge hit, and but my daughter, it was so funny. She called me. She FaceTimed me. She goes, "Have Amazon Alexa play that right now and watch your reaction as you listen to this song."
Anderson .Paak, thank you.
Thank you, Ruby.
Thank you, Ruby.
Thank you. And so she wanted to watch my reaction, and I listened to the song. And after it was done, I said, "It was really, really good, Ava." I said, "I love those words about the potato chips." She goes, "What line about potato chips?" I said, "It said, if you want the smoke, I've got the haze. If you get hungry, I've got
the lays." Yeah.
And she goes, "Oh, I didn't hear that." And I thought, "Oh, that's so funny. I listen like a songwriter."
Yes,
so
me too.
The lyrics.
Always.
That's clever, you know. It's cute. It's clever. It's modern. I liked it.
I love that song because it's very retro. It's like a totally retro. It sounds like it reminds me of 8 others of my favorite songs. But the combination of and the video, I mean, I don't know why this is a commercial for it, but they're just so good. And the video is so appealing, and those little gems, those little bonbons that they throw in that make it rise above just cliches, you know. He's like, "Come on," you know. You're like, "Come on," you know.
I think Bruno Mars is one of the absolute best modern writers that we have. I think he is outstanding in his field.
And he's an incredible entertainer.
Incredible.
So it's like
songwriting is
complete package.
You got to watch that video. It just makes you happy. It just makes you happy.
Well, Vic, is there a song out there that you've heard that you've thought, I can't believe I didn't write that? Like, that's a perfect song.
Oh, I mean, there's 9,000 songs like that I think. I don't think I can't believe I didn't write that. I just think, oh, I wish I would have written that.
Right.
I honestly, there's just too many. There's really too many, and there's too many kinds. There's the kind that make you cry. There's the kind that make you dance. Yeah, that's like saying it's just too many. There's like what kind of chocolate? Too much chocolate. Too many good things out there. You know,
okay.
Writing for like a show. That I'm obsessed with, you know, when I listen to an entire show, like I've been in, you know, we've been doing this exercise to only Broadway songs, funny enough. But one of the soundtracks I was most obsessed with these last few years is The Band's Visit. And just that kind of like, I could never have, that's just not in me, those songs to write. So I'm obsessed with them because I just think they're so creative and beautiful and well written. And I think about what kind of mind went there, you know, or even, you know, Wicked. What an amazing score, and the lyrics, and you know, I love to analyze songs that make me happy, you know, just like
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
There are certain songs in Wicked, as much as I've heard them, there are a couple of lyrics that just make me cry. A handprint on my heart. That's a great lyric.
The song,
oh my God,
Girl still makes me cry every time.
The what? Oh yeah.
And the thing is, I'm still a music fan, even though I'm in the business. I'm this. I never stop being a fan. It's never. You know, right, Amanda? It's never. I'm not jaded. I'm not bored with it. I'm still excited about it. You know.
Absolutely. When you hear something that just, you know, takes your breath away, that's what keeps you going. Cause you're like, I gotta get better. I gotta write something that makes me excited as that song. You know?
I mean, sometimes you hear things, you go, I'm out. I couldn't do that.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong. We can.
Don't get me wrong. Okay, you guys, this series is designed around Shippensburg University's that's their glass. Commitment to celebrate diversity, and we're celebrating Women's History Month. So I want to talk about diversity in your own careers, gender in musical theater, gender in pop country music. I'm assuming that historically they've been male-dominated fields. Are you used to being the only woman in the world of creatives, or has that even been an issue?
For me, I've definitely been the only woman in the room a lot. It's getting better, and there are a lot more women, but it has been a male. I mean, it's changed in the last 5-10 years, maybe a little bit. I mean, I haven't been in it that long, but I've often been the only woman in the room, and having to fight harder and learn how to talk to be heard, and all the things. I mean, and I've worked with lovely people, so it's not like I worked with Harvey Weinstein or monsters or anybody like that. But it is definitely still a man's world, and a white man's world. But yeah, it has gotten better, and I hope it will get better. And I think there's a huge push for a lot of change, which is great.
And Vic, same?
Yes. Well, when I came to
the country scene, I can only imagine.
When I came to Nashville, there was maybe 5 really big top female songwriters, and they were wonderful. But I've been the only woman in the room for 25 years. I don't really think about it, to be honest with you. I think one of the secret weapons I had, because most of the hits I've ever written were for men, and I think I have a knack of writing songs for men that women want to hear. Because men understand what women want to hear. And then when there's so many times, just yesterday, I'd be like, I know you think that's sexy, but as a woman, that doesn't turn me, that's not, you just compared me to a tool in your chest. It's like, sorry. What he was trying to say, but it was like, no, that's not going to do it for a female artist. But I've had a lot of success bringing out a little bit of a different thing, and yet being able to not, like some women I know only really write songs for women, but I've always mostly done men. I will say country music has been, you think, your field, well, I guess Broadway too, as white could be, and as male could be, but there is a huge, huge push, because in the last year, people have been talking about, and there's been a few breakthroughs of men of color who are country artists now, and it's fantastic. But there hasn't been any women really yet, and now I'm seeing a lot more pop up, and somebody's gonna, a few of them are gonna rise, and they just need to be. My thing is, they just need to have great songs. I don't want them to, and they shouldn't want to succeed, because it's an easier thing. Oh, there's no black women here, I'll jump in on this jump. It's all about the songs, the sincerity, the artists who really, really grew up doing everything that every other country artist has. They're out there. I'm looking forward to that, And also there was a long period where all of a sudden women weren't being played on country radio in general, which is weird, because in the 90s they
I remember. Oh my gosh, Reba, Winona,
Trisha and Trisha and Martina, and all of a sudden they disappeared. It's been bizarre, and so now they're really making a push to have women back on. It's kind of mind-boggling, So
well, Amanda grew up watching her dad's writing partner, Betty Comden. She must have been the most wonderful role model for a young, up-and-coming writer to study.
I don't know if I studied her, but just the fact of her existence.
She was around.
She was around, and she was, God knows, even, she was definitely the only woman for a lot of it. But yes, the fact that she succeeded and was there, side by side with my dad, certainly made it seem like it was not that daunting to do. I mean, once you get in it, you find out, exactly where the limitations are.
How did they meet?
They met, I believe she was going to NYU. My father was not. I think he was a high school dropout. I don't know. I feel like they met through friends, and they hung out, and he was a self-described bum, but they got each other. They liked each other, and they wanted to be performers too. And then, as famously, they went to the Village Vanguard, and they got offered a gig, but they couldn't afford a writer, so they just decided to write, themselves. And there you go.
That's awesome.
I mean, isn't that the greatest story? And it's really both of your stories, starting out wanting to be, look at me. And all of a sudden, you start writing.
Oh, no, I'm still, look at me. I'm still.
Well, we're looking right at you. What do you tell kids, because there are kids watching, students watching, aspiring songwriters? Or what do you wish somebody would have told you? What did you miss out hearing?
Well, full confidence in yourself. I had a lot of self-doubt, and I still do, but certainly full confidence. And the way you become a great writer is to write. And if your first song doesn't make it or your 20th song doesn't make it, just keep on writing. And like what Victoria was saying about not being precious with, that's something I've learned over time. You write a song, and if it's good, oh my God, I'll never write it. You can't change it. You can't do anything. This song is wonderful. You will write, life is long, and you will write so many songs.
Songs and go, I can't believe I thought that was amazing. Exactly. Keep talking. I have to plug in my computer because I'm running out of juice. Keep talking.
Okay.
Tell me about your work with the Dramatist Guild.
Oh, I love the Dramatist Guild. I'm on the council, and they're terrific for people anyone who writes for the theater, for book writers, composers, lyricists, whether you're just starting out or you're on Broadway. They really are there for you, and they just are so much help. They provide free legal services and contracts, and they really understand that theater writers are actually small, like business owners. We don't make a lot of money, but we own our work, which is different from every other, from TV and film, and so that we are sort of the job creators. From someone sitting in a room coming up with an idea to 150 people employed and 2,000 people a night. So they provide community for writers. They provide community, legal services. They will pick up for you. They will, give you advice. They offer classes. They offer lots of different services. And Maestro Music is an interesting new organization that I'm hearing a lot about. Newish that supports women in musical theater. It's amazing. Georgia Stitt, it's her brainchild, and she noticed that the statistics for women composers and pit musicians and conductors is awful. And people always say, like everything else, I'd love to hire a woman, but where do I find a good woman drummer? So she has created a huge database of women in all areas of music in theater, from drummers to orchestrators to arrangers to musical directors to composers. And she does seminars. They're having, I'll plug March 29th, they're having their inaugural concert, Amplify. So look that up, Maestro Music Amplify. And there are now thousands of members, and we meet monthly and have meetups, and there's so many support, offer each other support and classes. And it's really great. People are using it in the industry because there is a real pressure to find women of color, and you can no longer say, I'd love to hire a so-and-so, but they don't exist. And they're like, well, there are 20 here. And there's a global directory now, yes, no matter where you are. So it's proof that talent exists. Yes. It's great. Vic, what's the most personal song you've ever written? Ooh, good question.
Wow. Nobody's ever asked me that, Jim. It's always rare when I get asked a question I haven't been asked before.
Does this make up for what was it like having Adolph and Phyllis?
Answer that, Victoria.
I'll tell you what it was like for me to have Adolph and Phyllis. Probably, I guess I Love the Way You Love Me. It was exactly about what I was going through at the time. It was a love story, and it was true. And that might be the most personal one, I think.
Have you ever had trouble performing that? Because knowing your backstory on that?
A couple of times, yeah. And I'm not a weepy kind of person, but a couple of times it was a little bit difficult because that love affair did not end up lasting. So when I first started to play that out after all that, I had to just literally actually blank it. And such a big hit, I couldn't omit it from my performance. That's the thing. Like I couldn't not, like I'm just not going to sing that. That's like a song of the year. So I just had to almost blank out and sing it with nothing going. Now I can sing it and enjoy the craft of it, honestly. And, and the song, I enjoy the big notes. I enjoy the melody, so, but for a while I would just sing it and not think.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, Amanda, I know, has 2 songs. One that she wrote for her dad called Daddy's Shoulders that is a killer.
I cry every single time I sing it, and I've sung it a lot.
I know. I cry and I'm in the audience. And then you wrote a great song for your mom, which is hilarious, but also very touching to listen to.
The last time I looked. Yeah. Yes. That I always cry at a moment. There's a moment where she talks about what happened to him. He got it reversed. Don't you know? You always let the lady go first. And now that he's gone, the smile I have on is rehearsed. See, I'm like crying again. Oh, gosh. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how you do it. Amanda, do you just
sing a song that you're that connected to? As long as I would not want to sing a song that I wrote when I was in love, if it did not work out, that would be painful. That would be very painful.
Yeah, but then you
can own it. I mean, you wrote this beautiful thing that outlasted the thing. Yes.
And then you just move on, and you just
move on.
Yeah. It just becomes like a special piece of work that people really, really appreciate when you sing it. So I appreciate them appreciating it.
Absolutely.
It's true. I mean, the applause all 3 of those songs get is just because I think we feel that too. We as an audience go, oh, this is from the heart.
Yeah, and a lot of people, that's my wedding song. That's my wedding song. It's very, it's an honor. And people take the time and put it in such an important occasion. It's like the river. People use it for funerals, which is a really important, time in the person's life. People use it for graduation, which is amazing and, heartfelt. And people have said, I had that blasting in my car when I had enough nerve to leave my small town and go for my dreams.
Oh my God.
Those kind of comments, I'm so humbled. I mean, just like, so, because I know what songs mean to me, I know, because part of me is like, really my song? But the other part of me goes, Dick, there's songs you can pick that, like, even The Dance by Garth, written by Tony Arata, but Garth made it famous. That song got me through a really hard time, like a special time in my life. Like that song puts me in a mood, and I'm so appreciative of that song. So when people say the same thing to me, I'm very touched.
I remember sitting in an amphitheater with you, Victoria, watching Garth Brooks sing The River.
Wow.
And everybody with lighters. I mean,
he's so showbiz that he called it an amphitheater. It was Yankee Stadium.
Oh.
Were you in the vomitorium?
We're in an amphitheater.
Shut up, yous. How dare you? The vomitorium. I'm telling you, though, to be there with you, to see your success, this song that you guys wrote, on a card table, I'm just guessing, and then hundreds of thousands of people swaying, lip syncing, singing along. That's a moment I will never forget. Plus, it was raining, but so there was that. That was an incredible thing.
Yeah, it's a very special thing. I mean, especially when he does it, I never get tired of seeing all those lights go off and wherever he's playing. All the phones just light up like stars. I took my mom to see him 2 years ago when he was playing the arena here. My mom had never been to an arena concert, and I was like, Garth, you have to let me drive straight up to the stage with my mom almost, because she's not the swiftest walker. So he took us. I got her in. We sat down, and she watched the concert. It was amazing. And when they hit the river, and lights are going and the things going, you hear him yell, "You seeing this, Vic?" And it was really sweet. It was really sweet. And my mom was just. It was a lovely moment.
What better gift can you give your mother? I mean, please. That's fantastic.
$3 million in cash.
Oh, well, she would appreciate that. Well, you guys, I can't thank you enough. I've loved this conversation. you out there, I know you've enjoyed my favorite, funny, smart, talented friends, Victoria Shaw, Amanda Green. Thank you for being such great guests. And thank you to our producer, Ruby Lochner, who, as I said, Vic knows personally. And to you, our viewers, don't forget to donate to the Lures Center to help fund a wide array of cultural programming that will include full-scale Broadway performances, comedians, symphonies, pop and rock performances, family shows, and internationally known speakers.
Maybe I can bring my songwriters show to Lures.
Oh, that's a good idea.
I mean, let's do that. And Amanda can be in it, and I'll usher.
That works. That sounds good.
Is that good?
Thank you, Jim.
Come on.
You guys are the best. And thank you all for watching. I'm Jim Caruso, and you can watch me here on the Cast Party Network every Monday night at 8 o'clock when I celebrate amazing talent on Pajama Cast Party. Hit subscribe and share, and we'll keep you apprised of all the fun. Okay, everybody wave.